Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ModzvilleUSA here, back with another video. And today, I can hardly contain myself. We've got Loopy's brand new 3DS capture kit, USB-C, and doesn't really look like there's much soldering needed at all going on here. We've got the audio cable and a whole bunch of flex cables that look like they just plug right in. Now if you saw my optimize new 3DS capture kit installed, try to remember to chuck a one of those little cards right there for you. If you want to see me wanting to blow my brains out for about an hour and a half installing that thing, you would realize an updated capture kit is very much needed. And coincidentally, right when I posted that video, started hearing that this is a thing, that Loopy's been working on a new 3DS kit for quite some time, and it just so happened to come out shortly after I released my video. And it's a little bit tricky to get your hands on, so let me show you right here. This is the website here, 3dscapture.com, old school style website. And we go order here, and as you can see, the new 3DS XL capture, there's the installation and there's the manual install here. So honestly, like, Loopy's install price is pretty damn good. So it's $120 if you just get the kit to install it yourself, and it's $200 for the kit and you send it in and Loopy installs it and sends it back. From what I can tell, the pictures of his work is really good, and honestly, unless you enjoy the process like I do, you might want to consider just sending it in. I think that's a very fair price, especially for the quality of work he does. But if you've just got the kit, like me, and you want to do it yourself, that's what we're going to be doing today. Before we get into that, though, let me just show you a little bit how this works, like if you want to keep your eye on it. So back here, 3dscapture.com, we go to the support forum, and then go to general, and this topped the stickied thread here, the updates release thread. We come on in here. You're going to need to make an account, register for an account, but like this image shows here, once you're logged in, you should have to this subscribe topic. And when there's updates, so January 14th was when these dropped, new 3DS XL boards will be going up for sale today. Now, I was subscribed, I just gotta say, I was subscribed to this, and I don't believe I got an email. So I missed it, and I just kind of come back and check in, and every time I check in, I've had just missed it by just a little bit. But more should be made, more will come out, but be on it because they come and they go super fast. These are in demand, they're a very good price, and they appear to be better than the optimized kit, and you don't need to like almost want to die when you install it. I can already tell this is going to be a breeze by comparison. And again, too, if you hadn't watched my optimized kit install, so much of it, my complaints with the install were because it just seemed silly. Like, it's all like it seems to be designed to piss you off. is my assessment of that kit. It works great. Don't get me wrong. That optimized kit, once it's installed properly, it works fine. But you need to cut out the flex cable manually. You need to solder to 0201 resistors blind, because it's like little vias in the flex cable, so it's just it just could have been, it's really, the flex cables could have been designed so much better, and Loopy has done so, I can already tell. So sit back, grab a cup of tea. We're essentially just going to be following the written guide here. I'm going to be doing it, first time doing it, so we'll learn along the way. I'm not the best at shell trimming. You got to know your strengths and weaknesses, and I may be quite good at soldering, but my shell trimming abilities have a long way to go. So we'll see how we pull this off. All right, I guess let's just dive right into it, get this installed, and show it off. Okay, so starting off here, we are going to be removing the back panel rubber feet here, pulling the back housing off carefully, because we've got the triggers are very brittle flex cables. We're going to want to come in and pop up with some tweezers as to not rip them. I've seen it happen. I believe the very first 3DS I worked on, I popped open and messed up one of these right off the bat. So be careful. Everything's very delicate. Connectors are very delicate, and you're going to be, if you mess up a connector, you're going to have a much gnarlier job to do. Cool, so let's get this started. So I'm using one of these really crappy but convenient 000 Phillips head screws that come with the Nintendo Switch like shell replacements from Extreme Rate. They're not great screwdrivers, but I just have so many floating around from all the shell swaps I've done over the years for people. Every time they come with a set of screwdrivers, and I break about one of them per month, but I've got enough floating around, it doesn't even matter. Okay, I used my tweezers there. Might be better with an X-Acto knife, but the tweezers did the job. So this is, let me just make sure. Yep, that's Phillips. Okay, we got those 4 out, and now I'm gonna pop off the back panel here. Got the SD card. Remove the battery. Remove the SD. Okay. Up. Alright, I removed those 4. But we still have 2 more down here. Forgot about those. Okay. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All removed. We should be able to pull the back panel off. The trigger flex cables are going to be plugged in right around this area. So we want to try to pull from the front carefully. Make sure we don't screw those up. I've got my little spudger tool here. I'm gonna kind of go across the seams. Oh, okay, so it's gotta come from the top because of the headphone jack, so we're just gonna very delicately try to maneuver this to get it off of the jack. You know what, it's gotta be unplugged first, so I think we can get this on camera. Only worked on a handful of 3DSs, so cut me some slack. Okay, pop, pop, and we good. It's out of there. We've got remove the screws and disconnect cables from the main board. So we've conveniently got all these screws highlighted here. And then we've got all the flex cables. Okay. Small black connectors, pull cable out horizontally. Small connector with gray latch, lift latch to vertical position, then slide cable out and close to protect it from breaking off. These are very delicate. I've just recently had a Panda dev kit come in with one of those broken, as well as the buttons on the main board, like the power button, volume, whatever. So be careful with all of those. LCD connectors are the same as the OLED, I believe, the OLED switch, and those are very easy to break as well. Y connectors, flip tab up, slide cable out. You really, with the long flat ones, you really gotta make sure it stays straight. So if you bend the pins internally, the tab's gonna snap when you put it back together. Very, very careful with these, especially if you're ill-equipped to replace a connector, which again is going to be a much harder job than installing the kit, depending on your skill set. So we're going to remove all the screws highlighted. Well, all right. That's all the screws highlighted. Now it's the connectors. And we're going to follow this because it looks like, thankfully, the LCD connector does not get disconnected. That is awesome. That is probably one of the hardest things about the other mod is getting the flex cable, those flex cables specifically plugged back in without damaging anything. That is very nice. So cool. What do we got here? Ah, the joystick. Gotcha. Okay, now with these ones, I like to use my thumbnail right in the middle. Pop it up and very gently. You don't want to hit it too hard of an angle, you'll bend those pins. So get it to where you can get your tweezers in there, just a little bit out, rock it out. Use two sets of tweezers. I'll just use this Phillips head there because I got it. Pull it out without damaging those pins. Now we've got the joystick here. We'll flop it over like that. Come in here with our tweezers. There we go. Put that somewhere safe. Okay, next on the list here is we're flipping it face down, open up the 3DS, and we're going to flip the main board out carefully because we've got a couple ribbon cables here for the LCD plugged in. We're just kind of going to hinge it on over itself here. So that is great because plugging these back in, if you unplug these, it absolutely sucks to get them back in. Like, one of the hardest parts about working on a 3DS is plugging these cables back in. Cool, so I'll flip it over. I'm going to remove the cartridge slot. I'm going to remove this plastic piece covering the bottom screen, and we're going to cut top right corner 1 centimeter, or 2 centimeters by 1 centimeter, and we'll just measure that out. Put the plastic piece back in. Watch the home button, it falls out. Okay, we're going to be careful of the home button. put the cartridge slot back on, screw it down. Okay, so let's do that. So we need to hinge this up, and we forgot one here, taken care of. That should be everything here. Lot of flex cables going on. So we're kind of going to lift it like this. Very carefully. This is plugged in. We're being very safe here specifically. Very carefully leverage it over. See? Now you can probably see why this is so difficult. I'll zoom in for you to plug back in. Because we've got one flex here, got this one coming in that would need to plug in, and then you would need to plug in this one, have that reach around. It really is, it truly is a pain in the ass to plug these back in when you unplug them. So thankfully, we're just carefully wedging it over and not unplugging it. Okay, so got this flipped over. We remove the cartridge slots. So cartridge slot comes out. It's not screwed in, it just comes right up like that. And we've got this plastic piece. The whole thing. Got it. Alright. Just be careful. Prop it up. So what do we got here? Is this the, I assume this is the digitizer. Okay, so I have it mapped out here with a Sharpie. I need some calipers to measure, and it's just going to be about this tip. I think the tip of the Sharpie. I'm going to be cutting it this way. This is a new battery powered rotary tool I got from AliExpress recently. I remember I will leave a link to this. This will be my first time using it, so I'll let you know if it's good or not. Cool. So I'm gonna turn it on. That is the lowest speed. Dial it up a little bit. Fantastic. That was a good clean cut. Yeah, I think something like this is pretty nice for cutting plastic, these really fine ones, as opposed to the big wall powered massive Dremel tips. This is very fine. I was able to get very precise with this. That is quite nice. Well, alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we've got the cut going here. Looking pretty nice. It's put back in. Home button. Make sure your home button is in place, secured. We've put back in the cartridge slot. We've screwed it down, reattached the ribbon cable, and now, so apparently the alignment isn't quite right on the boards here, but future revisions will be sorted out. Essentially, we need to cut this screw post down in half. Let's see a picture of what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, so I'm gonna use that Dremel again and shave this guy down. Alright, sorry for the lack of commentary there, folks. But that should be a decent enough chunk, I believe. So yeah, I think we should be good. I guess we'll find out later, but I've got a nice... about as much. Mine's a bit more angled. At like a slant, but I don't believe that should matter too much. We'll find out though, I guess. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is where things get a little spicy, a little fun here. This is where we're going to be using these flex cables to interface with these LCD connectors here. So we do actually need to unplug just one, probably the easiest one to, actually certainly the easiest one to reconnect here. So this one here, boom, this is getting unplugged, and we're using the larger of the two flex U cables here to plug in. So we're going to prep this by opening up this black tab here. We'll flip it over, plug it in place of this cable, and then we fold it upon itself and then plug in the original cable to this flex cable. So let's do that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. This connector right here, this this flex cable, this needs to get unplugged. And I'm going to gently unplug it. Okay, great. Now we take that new U-shaped flex cable. Where did I put it? The way I've got it, it goes this way. So I'm taking my fingernail. I want to do this off camera so I can put it flat. Okay, we got it open here. Now we need to flip it and plug it in. Okay, and use my tweezers, lock it in. Fantastic. And go upon itself like this. I'm going to give it a bit of a crease here, just so it's not so bulbous. And we're going to take the original flex cable. I was totally screwed this up. I was actually trying to fold it down this way. Goes this way to the left. Could have been very bad. Editingville here from the future, and I just want to quickly state that I did this wrong, and I realized as I put it back together. As you can see, I've got the connectors stacked upon one another. The new one here, the original is below it. So what you want to do is you want this over to the left. You don't want these stacked on top of each other. The new one goes to the left of this one. Otherwise, if it's stacked like this, the console isn't going to close. It's too thick. So this guy goes this way, and then you crease it down so it stays there, and you're good. It'll all stick in there once everything's locked together. But yeah, just be advised so you don't have to troubleshoot it later like I did. This guy, a little bit to the left. Don't stack them. That's all. Let's carry on. Okay, this took me a couple minutes to finagle in here to find the right angle. Got it off camera, but the essentially the flex cable, if you get this other end here to just kind of fit straight in here, kind of slide it in behind the screen, you get a very nice angle. And again, I'm going to make sure I don't screw it up. This will bend down or lock in this way as opposed to this way. It's kind of disorienting. It's because it's a little bit, it's kind of the opposite of what you expect for one of these connectors, but this is it. Let's see about that alignment. And it looks like, no, that looks good. I think that looks good. Let's double check. Camera here. Yeah, that looks aligned to me. Okay, let us carry on. Okay, so the next little bit of this is going to be flipping the board back over, reattaching the cables, screwing it down except for this screw at the very top right here. We don't screw that in. We screw everything in, we plug everything back in. Not this screw, and not the analog stick as well. That's going to come, I think, at probably one of the last things we do. Then we're going to solder in the audio connector. That's all the soldering we need to do. Super simple, and thankfully this flex cable here has got the nice little anchor point, as opposed to the optimize, which all of that shit just kind of flows willy-nilly. I go over all that in my video where yeah, it's not locked down anywhere. You gotta manually tack it to the board. Cool, so let's get that done. Alright, so we are going to tin up 1, 2, 3, and this is going to be our anchor point. So I'll come in here with my trusty Amtech 559. Little dab will do ya. Okay, I'm switching tips. This one needs a tip tinner, and I do not know where my tip tinner is. No, I'll probably over tin. But as long as nothing's bridging, then we good. Much better. Much better. No flux yet. I don't want to screw up my visibility. I want to get it tacked in place. And I'm just kind of thinking about the best way to approach this, and honestly, where's my flux? Yeah, honestly, I think we're gonna work with the anchor first. Yeah, that's pretty good. I want to move it up just a little bit. Yep. And that's good. It's not going anywhere. Alignment is nice. Doesn't appear to be bridging the nearby paths. You know what? I'm going to try to scoot it a little to the right. To be safe. Okay. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that alignment is very beautiful. Knocking the camera, sorry about that. Very tight shot. Looks good to me. And now I want to come in here. I want to add more solder to the anchor. Really make sure this fucker's in. Love it. Love to see that. And now, yeah. Push down. Refloat one more time. I want that anchored real nice. Okay, now at this point, the instructions suggest that we test to make sure it's still working. So what I'm going to do, I'm not even going to plug the trigger flex cables in. I'm just kind of going to rest this on top so the battery lines up. Whoa. It's going a little crazy here, but everything's working. Screen, audio, both screens. Okay. We're good. Now if you are not getting audio, check the cable we just soldered in. You might have a bridge there. And if you're not getting video on one of these screens, it's those flex cables. I would try reseating them and trying again, but we're good, so we'll carry on. Okay, so this is by far going to be the most difficult part, is dremeling out the space for the capture kit. As you can see, it's kind of got like he's done a fine indentation here with the Dremel to make room for the components on the capture kit. So this is going to be a little tricky. Let's see. So as you can see, the screw post needs to go. These little dimples and whatnot are going to need to go. Okay, just a quick update here. I've been grinding it down, kind of using this metal wheel kind of thing, and I've been just kind of grinding it down to where it's going to go. There's the bump right here, which I forgot to mention, and I've sanded that down fairly flush, at least at this angle here. This is all pretty flush to the feel. I know it doesn't look great, but it feels pretty smooth here. And I've gone ahead, and it's a little hard to see, but I've put in capture kit as best I can. And traced the USB-C port with the very fine Sharpie here. You see that on the edges. That's a little bit better. That cut looks factory. That looks really, really nice. That Loopy's got there in this image. I'm gonna have to ask him. I don't know how he does these like really nice circles here, but I'm gonna do my best. It's probably not gonna be great. This isn't my strongest. I'm not the strongest in this department, but I'm gonna do my best. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen. So we've got. I went ahead and I essentially just filed it down. My hand tool bump has been leveled out, and we've got the hole here. It is not perfect, but I'm definitely getting better when it comes to doing this. So overshot it a bit in a few areas, as you can see. But you know what? I can live with this. Got room for improvement, obviously, but you know, it's all right. It beats a big square cutout, but yeah, it doesn't look factory, that's for sure. But it's okay. I did okay. So yeah, let's carry on. Okay, so now it's a matter of plugging in the capture card here. Fantastic. Now we fold it over. Line up this hole. Modzville from the future again, just to inform you that I used the wrong screw here initially. This screw is supposed to be one of the longer screws for the back housing, as it is that screw post, the one that we cut off. And this screw over here, that's for the short screw, that stays uninstalled, otherwise it would tilt up the USB-C port here. So yeah, just letting you know, I'm cutting out a lot of this footage because it's me being confused. But yeah, long screw here. Keep it down, and it's nice and secure. You don't want to like totally tighten it because it's like it's got a gap in between. Maybe a washer will be included down the line, I don't know. But yeah, just tighten it to where it sits flush and it doesn't start coming up on the other end. Let's carry on. But yeah, a little washer wouldn't hurt. Might look into that later, see how secure it is. If it seems fine, I'll just leave it. We're plugging this in. Okay. Cool. Okay, now the last little bit here is going to be the joystick. So come on in here, pop that up. We gotta come in here. Okay, and this is gonna be a bitch. No way around it. Okay. Seems good. Make sure This hole is vertical like that. Fantastic. And then it's the 2 longest screws. The last little thing of note in the instructions here is to do your best to make sure the trigger goes underneath the capture board so the flex cable doesn't get pinched on the back housing. Ladies and gentlemen, the 3DS is done. I've done a bit of testing already. Everything's working great. And I'm just gonna show you around. So just from the outside, it all looks pretty standard, except for the new USB-C port here. Not a perfect cut. I did okay, but I've got a long way to go improving my skills in the, just blind hole cutting. Some people can make these look factory, and that is wild. I would like to get there one day. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm satisfied with this. And yeah, we're just gonna plug it on in. Open this up. Gone ahead and installed some games already. And let's switch to my desktop mode here. Boom. Here we go. Pretty straightforward software. And they're the lag, like there's barely any lag here. And like the audio too just comes through just out the gates. Software is pretty straightforward. There's not a whole lot of dicking around to be done. We could choose the codec here. There's quite a few in here. This is all default. Configure temporal quality ratio. None of this I don't know. I'm keeping it at 30 FPS. We can have both screens. We can just do the top screen. Let's see how that looks. Didn't actually change there. I don't know. What else we got? We can record within. This changes the output. Split window. And split the windows, change the sizes, and then obviously further edit it in OBS or whatever we're using to capture this. So that is very cool. Let's undo that. Maximize it. Yeah, it just works. You just plug it in and it works. So there's a driver and then a software. The software we're using here. I tried to install the driver and it wasn't needed, so it seems to, like, as soon as I plugged it in, it showed up in Windows as like new 3DS or something along those lines. Probably goes without saying, but just to mention, the capture kit is not charging it over USB-C. So if you're going to be using it for a long period, you're going to want to also have power plugged in. That would be like a nice add-on board if that's possible. I imagine that's got to be doable to some degree, but would require more legwork, like hooking up, wiring the USB-C to go to power and recharge it. But that would be pretty sweet if it was like a 2-in-1. That would be neat. It looks great. Like, the capture footage looks great. There's no lag, no bullshit. Audio comes through over USB. You could also pull it from analog if you want. But it seems fine so far. And let's just boot up a game. So yeah, I haven't used this extensively. But so far it's amazing. I mean, I would say this is definitely superior in every way to the optimized kit. As far as the installation process, it's relatively should be relatively simple for even like maybe not novice modders, but you know, middle. I would put it in the middle tier. Optimize I would put in the beyond advanced tier, to where it's just borderline psychotic. As far as like usability, it's super straightforward, easy. Anyone can understand the software. You just download it, you open it, you plug it in, and you're ready to go. No BS. It's very straightforward stuff. The only thing where the optimized kit I would say would shine over this is currently at least is availability. There's been 2 batches of these so far, and they came and went just like that. So you really need to be on it. Most people don't even know this exists as of now. Hopefully this video helps with that, but if it does, then you know, you're also going to be contesting with more and more people trying to get one. So yeah, availability. Hopefully Loopy can figure a way to scale it up if the demand is high enough, but I think the demand is currently higher than the supply as it is, as they move very, very quick. And yeah, that's the only, if you're in the only way I could currently recommend the optimized kit over this is, you know, if you're impatient and you got to get something done, you need a capture kit. It's still going to take some time getting it from Japan, but they are pretty, as far as I can tell, they're pretty much always obtainable. Whereas these, you really gotta be on the ball, and you gotta keep your eyes peeled, subscribe to that thread, and do your thing. But yeah, big ups Loopy, shout out, you made an amazing kit, and I'm very, very impressed with this. This is very cool, very stoked to have it. And good luck to everyone trying to get hands on one. And if you followed this guide and you got it installed, kudos, enjoy your very rad capture kit model 3DS. Anyways, dudes, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.